Natal Neptune Retrograde, important takeaways. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down Natal Neptune Retrograde in detail, everything you need to know about what does it mean? What does it mean when someone has their Natal Neptune Retrograde in their chart? Make sure you stick around all the way to the end because I'm going to be breaking this down in detail so you really understand. All right, so let's get started. So when you have natal Neptune retrograde, you were born when transit Neptune was retrograde. So when you took your first breath, when you were born, transit Neptune was retrograde at the time. So that means that if you were to look at Neptune in the sky when you were born, it looked as if Neptune was going backwards in backwards motion. That's what a retrograde represents. Neptune represents spirituality, intangible forces, idealism, dreams, large bodies of water, and illusions. Okay, so Neptune really represents everything that's intangible, things that you can't physically touch. You can't physically touch spirituality. You can't physically touch idealism, your dreams, the whole concept of large bodies of water and how it's just spiritual in its nature, and illusions, right? You can't physically touch illusions. Okay, so these are the things that Neptune represents: spirituality and intangible forces. Retrograde represents a time period of reflecting and reassessing matters. That's what retrograde time periods represent. It represents a time period of a lot of reflection and a lot of reassessing matters. Having natal Neptune retrograde, it makes you spend a lot of time reflecting on your dreams and ideals in spiritual matters. Okay, so this is pretty much what this means. Like when you have natal Neptune retrograde, you spend way more time than the average person reflecting on your dreams and ideals, reflecting on spirituality. It's just more than the average person. You spend a lot of time reflecting on what your dreams are. What do you idealize? Your attitude towards spirituality. It just makes you spend a lot of time reflecting on these matters more than the average person and what they mean to you and how to express Neptune energy, right? So you spend a lot of time reflecting on how to express Neptune energy. It matters more the sign and house your natal Neptune retrograde is in, right? Because when you look at the sign and house your natal Neptune retrograde is in, it tells you what type of matters you spend a lot of time reflecting and reassessing on. For example, someone who has Neptune in Aquarius in the 5th house retrograde. So if someone was to have Neptune in Aquarius 5th house retrograde, Neptune in Aquarius means that it represents a native that spends a lot of time reflecting on Aquarian-like matters as it relates to spirituality, right? So what this native, what they would do is they would spend just a lot of time in their lives reflecting on the fact that they idealize Aquarian-like matters. Like they idealize technology, science, humanitarianism, all these Aquarian-like matters. They idealize and romanticize these matters, but they're trying to figure out how to express that energy in the way that they would like to express it. Like, for example, if they idealize the whole concept of having a successful social media brand, they're going to spend a lot of time reflecting on how do I make that a possibility? How do I make my dream come true? And then someone having their Neptune in the 5th house, they idealize the whole concept of having children. They idealize the whole concept of being a very creative person, right? So you have to connect everything. So Neptune in Aquarius, idealizing Aquarian-like matters as it relates to the 5th house, the house of creativity, right? So that tells you how you put all the pieces together and you see exactly what this person is, what they spend a lot of time reflecting and reassessing on as it relates to Neptune. And that's pretty much everything you need to know. Email me if you still have more questions and if you still don't understand. My email is astrologyztv@gmail.com. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Take care.